are also still in effect. And we're blowing out our entire stock of used cars, many at half price or less. Teresco's Autoland, home of the world's largest Dodge Land.
A word from a company you've probably never heard of, because we make the special chemicals that keep the paint from coming off the walls, and keep the couch from coming unglued, and keep the floor from going its own way. Our name is Ryco.
Ryco?
And our special chemicals make all kinds of products do just what they're supposed to do.
Did I miss anything?
Only the commercial.
Ryco Chemicals, we do the most unheard of things.
Hey, you remember the Jefferson curve you taught? Oh, no, not the Jefferson curve again.
The Jeffersons, Tuesday night at 7.
Imagine a superstar lineup unlike any you've ever seen before. Chuck Norris, Paul Newman, Robert De Niro, Goldie Hawn, Robert Duvall, Jimmy Stewart, Grace Kelly, Dudley Moore, Woody Allen, Diane Keaton, Mikhail Baryshnikov, Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder, Bette Davis, Tanya Roberts, the Marx Brothers, and Marilyn Monroe. A major television event. The February movies on Channel 11.
Where I come from, folks stand proud and tall. You know they're always sincere. It's where your word is your word. A friend's a friend, and Miller's the beer. Miller's made the American way. Born and brewed in the USA.
Miller beer contains no additives, no preservatives.
Miller's made the American way.
Where in the world would you go to breakfast in France? Do a little shopping in the Casbah? And have dinner in Japan? Where would you go to hula in Hawaii one night and be on Broadway the next? To go for the green and sail off into the blue. Where would you go? Florida, to be together at the world's greatest resort, Walt Disney World. Surprised?
2 a.m. Chemistry paper due. Library and labs closed. Or are they? Even working from home, today's student can access information anytime, night or day. The companies of Bell Atlantic created this fascinating communication system. But the real genius behind what we do lies in our ability to manage these complex technologies to meet your needs. The companies of Bell Atlantic. We make technology work for you.
Now wait a minute!
Yes, now's the time to see your Tri-State Chevrolet dealer and get low 7.9% financing. Save up to $1,260 in finance charges on Cavalier, up to $1,210 on new Novas, and as much as $1,340 on four-cylinder Celebrities. But 7.9 is for a limited time only, so see your Tri-State Chevy dealer now.
We've got what you're looking for.
Next, Universal Pictures' debut network proudly presents one of the most critically acclaimed films of all time. The razor-edge suspense, the subtle grace of Alfred Hitchcock. Grace Kelly, James Stewart.
We scared him once, maybe we can scare him again.
Lovers who look into a nightmare.
That's the only place where he could have washed away the blood.
Through Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window. A debut network special presentation coming up next.
Universal Pictures' debut network presentation of Rear Window is brought to you in part by the makers of Miller Beer. Purity you can see, quality you can taste. Miller, made the American way since 1855. And by Ford, on your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Advanced Formula Dristan for relief of cold, hay fever, and sinus congestion. Advanced Formula Dristan provides 12-symptom relief.
To Rear Window starring James Stewart.
Oh, no. You've been here 3 weeks waiting for Hallie's coming?
Yep, and I already started celebrating with a cold light beer from Miller.
Light tastes great.
Light's less filling too, Tommy, and I can't get filled up. Been waiting all my life to spot this baby.
Well, how about one for me?
Sure.
Incredible.
What was?
Nothing, you good. Listen, I gotta run.
Okay, but you're gonna miss it. There, nope.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer. And less.
Taurus. Now there's an American car with the shape and the feel we've never seen before. Taurus. Now there is a personal car that has exactly what we've been looking for.
For all of us who will not compromise, Ford listened. Ford created Taurus for us.
Taurus. Taurus for us. Taurus for us. Have you driven aboard lately?
I want relief for this cold, but I don't want this medicine. It contains aspirin. This one has alcohol. This one, caffeine. And these have an appetite suppressant action. I don't want that. I want Dristan.
Dristan contains 3 doctor-recommended cold medicines for sneezing, congestion, aches, fever. 12 cold symptoms without ingredients you may not want.
Thanks, Dristan.
Dristan, strong cold relief without ingredients you may not want.
Oh, your 5-alarm chili's hot stuff.
Yeah, but how do we get rid of the grease? With a hose?
Rookie, we use Dawn. Dawn scatters grease, clears it away like a house of fire, helps keep it away.
Aha! Look what I found in your boot.
Wash that? After all those greasy dishes?
Yep.
Looks as clean as the first.
You're learning, Rookie.
And my hands don't feel greasy. So, what's on the menu for tomorrow night?
An old family recipe. Swedish meatballs.
And Dawn takes grease out of your way.
Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window will continue.
Cable TV, man.
Temperatures rising, starting to glow. It's a red hot winter on HBO. The Empire Strikes Back, Cotton Club. Feel the heat like never before. Passage to India, Starman. Cable's hot, there's never been more. It's a red hot winter. You can feel the glow. Get it now on cable and HBO.
Soon, this man's morning will take off with all the restraint of a runaway roller coaster. He'll face questions, challenges, dilemmas, which is why he's having a Thomas's English muffin. Not only do Thomas's taste delicious and wholesome, they are light enough to keep him on his toes, yet give him just what he needs to make it through the morning. Thomas's English muffins. Every day should start out this good.
Jose Dalmau has learned a lot from his uncle Kiko. Their playground is this beach in Puerto Rico, one of hundreds that ring the island. Kiko taught Jose how to swim and fish and sail in these waters. Now Jose is ready to learn something new, how to conquer the waves of Puerto Rico. And what better teacher than Kiko Dalmau, windsurfing champion of the island. Come to Puerto Rico, the shining star of the Caribbean.
Something evil's going on in a small New England town.
What are they trying to hide?
Make me the corn!
Ah, yes, yes.
You'll bear a child in the spring.
A baby is our harvest, as the corn is the earth.
He's come to see. Let him see.
Do you want to end up like me?
Betty Davis is the keeper of the dark secret of Harvest Home, Tuesday night at 8 on Channel 11.
Now, back to Rear Window star. Return to Rear Window starring James Stewart.
Man, you better not come on too strong if you want to take me out tonight. I had enough of Mr. Wrong. I want to be with Mr. Right.
Don't let you-know-what make you Mr. Wrong. Get the right spray.
I had enough of Mr. Wrong. I want to be with Mr. Right.
Mr. Right.
Some women know how to live.
New Hanes Silk Reflections, Hanes' softest, silkiest pantyhose.
Some women know how to live, how to look their best. How to feel soft and sensuous when they're dressed.
New Hanes Silk Reflections. The silkiness says this is living, fits like a fantasy. New Hanes Silk Reflections.
Some women know how to live.
I knew Charmin was irresistible, but irreplaceable?
What if I take your pack of Charmin and give you 2 of this major brand?
I don't like it. I have tried it. Truly, I've tried it. And I much prefer Charmin. It has a lot of bounce to it. When you squeeze it, it bounces back. For me and my family, I wouldn't have anything else. I'm sorry.
You know, my boss has to hear this. Gotcha.
Oh, my gosh. I don't believe it. How about a squeeze?
Squeezably soft Charmin. Not just irresistible, irreplaceable.
Where I come from, folks stand proud and tall. You know they're always sincere. It's where your word is your word. A friend's a friend, and Miller's the beer. Miller's made the American way. Born and brewed in the USA.
Miller beer contains no additives, no preservatives.
Miller's made the American way.
Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window will continue in
Tickets, please.
Ready for the big vacation?
Now we're flying to one of those spots where you need more books than clothes.
The way you're playing, you need a vacation.
Get a good fare?
Him? You can bet on it.
Lowest fare around.
Yeah, probably get stranded in Bora Bora.
No. Actually, the lowest fare was on American.
Skip, the man's way ahead of you.
Cheer.
When you're something special, people know it.
Now wait a minute.
Yes, now's the time to see your Tri-State Chevrolet dealer and get low 7.9% financing. Save up to $1,260 in finance charges on Cavalier, up to $1,210 on new Novas, and as much as $1,340 on 4-cylinder Celebrities. But 7.9 is for a limited time only, so see your Tri-State Chevy dealer now.
We've got what you're looking for.
A clogged fuel injector can make your car slow, sluggish, unresponsive. But only 2 tankfuls of advanced formula Mobile Super Unleaded can actually start to unclog fuel injectors. To give your car a new injection of power. Mobile Super Unleaded, high octane, with a plus.
Now, back to Rear Window starring Grace Kelly. Starring James Stewart.
To build a toothpaste
Maximum fluoride
that helps prevent cavities,
quick spreading gel.
you have to load it with fight. That's how AIM innovated the first fluoride gel, with a unique formula that spreads maximum fluoride where toothbrushes can't go.
You can't buy a better cavity fighter than AIM.
It tastes great.
She's right.
AIM Fluoride Gel, the maximum in cavity fighting for your whole family. We're aiming for 0 cavities.
It's a time of cool winds, warm homecomings, and thoughts of things homemade. Like the moist, home-baked taste of Duncan Hines butter recipe cakes. Only Duncan Hines has a blend of ingredients that mix with your butter to make a cake so moist, every buttery taste says Duncan Hines. A taste worth coming home to. Butter recipe cakes from Duncan Hines. It's our moist, delicious way to bake your best.
Happy anniversary.
Wow, beautiful.
I remember when you gave it to me.
I remember too. It's still so soft.
Well, thanks to Woolite.
What's so special about Woolite?
You can trust it. With the soft things you love, you want to help keep them fresh, looking terrific, feeling beautiful.
So Woolite keeps things beautiful?
Woolite. And a wonderful guy.
Trust Woolite Fine Fabric Wash.
Introducing Almost Home cookies from Nabisco. The cookies that taste almost homemade.
Look, Almost Home fudge sandwich cookies. Almost home? Yeah, they taste almost homemade. This cookie is real soft and chewy. It's great, but I wouldn't call them almost home.
New Almost Home cookies and 15 delicious varieties.
What would you call them? Mine. Yours.
Nabisco. Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window will continue.
For the big picture on sports, read New York Newsday. There's more New York in New York Newsday.
Approach control, I'm taking it home. I'll see you later.
Roger.
Of all the sports cars in its class, only Mitsubishi makes one with an intercooled turbocharged engine. Four-wheel disc brakes and race car stands for handling. Starion ESIR. You don't see a sports car like this every day. And with so few available, you probably won't. Mitsubishi. Starion ESIR.
Nice approach, Roger.
Milk got the kick that gives you more. Health kick.
More nutrition in every form.
Health kick. I'm moving to the rhythm of a brand new day, 'cause the vitamins in milk help me on my way. Kick. So get on a health kick, let it pour. America's favorite health kick. Get on a health kick, milk's got more. Have more milk, 'cause milk's got more.
These guys came in here, wanted to buy us out. Wreck the place like the rest of the block. This bar's been in our family for 70 years, so we said, go ahead, build your building. But build it around us.
There's still a place where some things are not for sale, where beer is beer and the brand is Miller. Miller contains no additives or preservatives. Purity you can see, quality you can taste.
I'm going on vacation. You're my replacement.
What? What do you mean? You mean I'm dear Miss Dinah?
8 is enough. Tuesday at 5.
Now, back to Rear Window starring Grace Kelly. Window starring James Stewart.
Uh-huh.
Set it down gently, fellas.
That explains it, Keebler.
What?
The buttery taste of your townhouse crackers. I knew there was a logical explanation.
Yes, sir. Elfin magic.
Right. I'm sure that's why those golden Keebler townhouse crackers have such a rich, buttery taste.
Just elfin magic.
Right. Well, I'll let you elves get back to work.
Keebler Townhouse Crackers for a rich, buttery taste.
These guys came in here, wanted to buy us out. Wreck the place like the rest of the block. This bar's been in our family for 70 years, so we said, go ahead, build your building. But build it around us.
There's still a place where some things are not for sale, where beer is beer and the brand is Miller. Miller contains no additives or preservatives. Purity you can see, quality you can taste.
Today's subject is chips.
Chips? I love chips. I've got the fever for the flavor of a Pringles.
The fever for
the flavor of a Pringles.
It's the deep fried taste. It's the crispy crunch. That's Pringles, please be a bunch. He's got the fever for the flavor of a Pringles. It's the deep fried taste.
It's the crispy crunch.
You catch the fever for the flavor of a Pringles.
Tri-Stays Pringles.
10 years ago, when I switched to Tylenol, I thought I'd never switch again. But today I'm switching to Advil. Just one Advil is as effective as 2 regular strength Tylenol. You see, Advil contains a non-prescription strength of ibuprofen. That's the medicine in the prescription brand Motrin. Doctors trust ibuprofen enough to have prescribed it 130 million times. And it's an Advil in non-prescription strength. Shouldn't you be switching again? Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window will continue.
This independent news break is brought to you by New York Newsday.
Good evening, I'm Morton Dean. Donald Maness has broken his silence. He apparently spoke to the New York Post, but what the Post reported and what Maness's lawyer claims his client said has created a new controversy. And a special report on a job opening in the mafia. The job, Godfather. Details on both stories coming up after the movie.
New York is ready for it. A newspaper with a fresh point of view. A paper that's colorful, exciting, fast-paced, and ready to take New York head-on. It's New York Newsday, with a perspective on New York that you won't find in the Times, the News, or the Post. So take a fresh, new look at the greatest city in the world. There's more New York in New York Newsday.
I have an idea. Just a thought. But if I keep working on it and share it with other people, it could become a brilliant idea. And from that brilliant idea could come a whole new way to solve complicated business problems or advanced communications problems. That's how all of us at Bell Atlantic like to think. We're a family of companies, reaching beyond the obvious to bring you wonderful new ways to communicate. But it takes more than technology to bring brilliant ideas to life. It takes people, talent, and know-how to meet your most demanding needs. At Bell Atlantic, we believe that the genius of the future lies not in technology alone, but in the ability to manage it. The companies of Bell Atlantic. We make technology work for you.
Welcome to the Big Apple in 1997. The streets that were once filled with excitement and glamour have vanished. The sparkling nightlife is nowhere to be found. The old neighborhoods are just a memory. Because the city that never slept just had its worst nightmare. Embassy Night at the Movies presents Escape from New York.
That's the action-packed Escape from New York, Thursday night at 8 on Channel 11.
Now, back to Rear Window starring Grace Kelly.
Something evil's going on in a small New England town.
What are they trying to hide?
Macy the con!
Ah, yes, yes.
You'll bear a child in the spring.
A baby is our harvest, as the corn is the earth.
He's come to see. Let him see.
Do you want to end up like me?
Betty Davis is the keeper of the dark secret of Harvest Home, Tuesday night at 8 on Channel 11.
11's Alive with the independent news next. We were ready for the future needs of business communications. Awesomely fast, yet extremely flexible digital capability. At Bell Atlantic, we have a network already in place with the latest in technology, with thousands of miles of fiber optic cabling, and one thing more, the genius to manage it, to make digital data transport an affordable reality, whatever the size of your business. The companies of Bell Atlantic, we make technology work for you.
On the next Carson's Comedy Classics, you won't want to miss Karnak, the Magnificent.
Follow the yellow brick road. What are good directions to a urologist's office?
You'll also see this classic bit. All this and more.
Monday night at 11 on Channel 11.
Our top story, when the phone stopped ringing, the silence was broken. Donald Maness spoke out, but what he said, or didn't say, sparked a new controversy.
This is INN, the independent news with Morton Dean and Sheila Stainback.
Good evening. The Queensborough president spoke to a columnist from the New York Post today, but an attorney for Donald Maness says Maness did not say what the columnist said he said. And the mayor had something to say about that. Mayor Koch said if Maness can talk to the Post, Maness can also talk to the authorities. Talk about the corruption scandal at the Parking Violations Bureau. Pat Dolan has the story.
Donald Maness is resting at home, too weak, his attorney says, to speak with investigators just yet. But Maness did talk by phone with New York Post columnist Cindy Adams. In her article, Adams says Maness told her about a cab driver who said, quote, Koch is a friend like Martin Bormann is a friend. Bormann was a top aide to Adolf Hitler. Adams said Maness finished the story by telling her the cabbie was right. Reacting to that, Mayor Koch had this to say.
Well, if he's well enough to take telephone calls, I think he's well enough to talk with law enforcement authorities. Obviously, that's a matter that has to be discussed with his doctor. But overall, we know that up until the present moment, he has not denied the wrongdoing alleged to have taken place.
Maness attorney Michael Armstrong says his client does not remember the Bormann remark, but added that Maness was tired, on medication, and really punchy. Armstrong said, to get her off the phone, who knows what he said. Donald Maness has not been charged with any crime, but a Queens attorney has accused him of directing payoffs to a city official. And Maness still faces intense pressure to step down as borough president and Queens Democratic leader. Many Queens residents feel that if Maness is truly innocent, he should defend himself before the situation grows even worse. In Queens, Pat Dolan for the Independent News.
An aide to Donald Maness lost his job today. Richard Rubin, a key aide to the head of the Queens Democratic Party, was fired by the man who is filling in for Maness, John Sabini. Sabini said Rubin's firing was unrelated to a probe being conducted by U.S. Attorney Raymond Deary. Deary is reportedly looking into allegations of bribery in exchange for patronage jobs. Sheila?
A sentence from the bench to a man who once sat on the bench. The sentence, 5 years in jail. The man, former Queens Supreme Court Justice William C. Brennan. Eric Shawn reports as the sentence was handed down, new questions were coming up, questions that may link Brennan to the scandal at the Parking Violations Bureau.
Justice may be blind, but inside the Queens Criminal Courthouse, justice was for sale. That's how federal prosecutors described the courtroom of former state Supreme Court Judge William Brennan, convicted in December of taking nearly $50,000 in bribes to fix criminal cases. The 67-year-old former assemblyman, state senator, and twice elected Queens Supreme Court justice was sentenced today. In court, federal Judge Jack Weinstein called Brennan casually corrupt and amiably dishonest, sentencing him to 5 years in prison, 5 years probation. Brennan could have received 20 years. Brennan must also pay $209,000 in fines and pay back $14,000 in bribe money. His lawyer called the sentence substantial.
There's no other sitting judge that's going to stop being corrupt because of a sentence like this, and I was hopeful that there might even be a more lenient sentence than the one imposed.
Does he send a message to other judges, do you think?
No, I don't think there are any other judges that need a message to be sent to. I know of no other corrupt activity by any judge as the result of this case in this particular New York City area.
Brennan's sentencing comes amid the city parking scandal that has plunged Queens politics into turmoil, with allegations of payoffs implicating Queens Democratic boss and borough president Donald Maness still recuperating from his knife wounds and a heart attack. Brennan's lawyer said there is no corrupt connection between Maness and his client.
Got a solid record behind me indicating that there's no connection between Maness and Judge Brennan.
Was Judge Brennan part of the Queens Democratic Organization?
That he probably was, but I would not know too much about
Why
that.
did you bother to deny it?
Deny that he was part of the Queen? I guess if he's a judge sitting in Queens, a Democratic judge, I guess he's got Democratic support, and if you want to call him part of the organization, I have no quarrel with that.
In court, there were 33 students from Great Neck South High School who had been following this case from the beginning. Judge Weinstein addressed his remarks to them, saying, "There is no crime more corrosive of our institutions than the bribery of a judge." Despite those words, some students thought Brennan's sentence was too light.
It got off much too easy. I mean, it feels like now everything has a price on it. I mean, if a judge can be bought, anyone can be bought.
What does this say to you?
It makes me feel like all the courts could be fixed and all the trials.
Brennan's lawyers are appealing the conviction. The former judge is free, pending its outcome. For the Independent News, I'm Eric Shawn in Brooklyn.
It's a challenge that may be too big for just about any Republican. Tonight, it's considered to be a challenge too big for Henry Kissinger. The former Secretary of State announced he will not run against Mario Cuomo in the upcoming contest for governor. Many Republicans had urged Kissinger to run. Many Republicans and many Democrats think that Cuomo is unbeatable. But Kissinger says he just doesn't have the time or the money to organize an effective campaign against Cuomo. Want to run?
Not I. But there's still a lot more news just ahead. We'll have the latest on the investigation into the cause of last week's space shuttle explosion. And Mary Murphy has a special report on who will become the new godfather of organized crime.
And Jeffrey Lyons will be along with a review of Richard Gere's latest called Power.
The Independent News, brought to you by Grape Nuts, by Ferraro Mon Cherie, and by Jell-O Gelatin.
Morning is your time. The earth wakes up with you. You always feel that spark of life in everything you do.
Grape Nuts. For you, it's as natural as the morning. No sugar added, no preservatives, just an honest nutty crunch. Post Grape Nuts cereal. You know when you've got it good.
Yes, you know when you've got it good.
chances are you've spent today doing things for other people.
So, honey, could you remember to pick up my suit?
Don't you deserve something for yourself?
Susan, would you come in here and take a letter, please?
Treat yourself to Mon Chéri, the fine chocolate Europeans treasure most. Mon Chéri, the treasure chest of delicate chocolate and hazelnuts.
Hey, my phone's ringing.
Discover Mon Chéri, the brand of fine chocolate Europeans treasure most. You deserve it.
Homeowners, here at Champion Mortgage Company, we specialize in second mortgage home equity loans from $10,000 to $500,000 or more. Joe's division approves loans at low fixed rates for qualified customers. And even if you have credit problems, Rick's department will help you get a second mortgage loan. Our professional staff will take your application by phone in just a matter of minutes. Most approvals take only 24 hours. Call for our free brochure and today's low fixed rate. And remember, when your bank says no, Champion says yes.
How far will $149 get you on People Express Airlines? All the way to London.
Tango Argentino at the Mark Hellinger Theater. Magnificent, dazzling, a night to stir the soul. Tango Argentino. Call charge it now.
Man, you remember the Jefferson Curve you taught. Oh, no, not the Jefferson Curve again.
The Jeffersons, Tuesday night at 7. President Reagan decided to lend the weight of his office, his authority, to the investigation of the Challenger explosion. NASA had the job. Now a presidential commission will conduct the probe. Marvin Scott has a report on the president's decision.
It's time now to assemble a group of distinguished Americans to take a hard look at the accident, to make a calm and deliberate assessment of the facts.
With those words, President Reagan named a Blue Ribbon Commission to determine the cause of the shuttle disaster and to recommend ways that it never happen again. The 12-member panel includes Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon, and Sally Ride, the first American woman in space. Heading the group is former Secretary of State William Rogers. The president says he expects to report on the accident within 120 days.
And we owe it to them to conduct this investigation so that future space travelers can approach the conquest of space with confidence, and America can go forward with enthusiasm and optimism which has sparked and marked all of our great undertakings.
Mr. Reagan reportedly was under pressure by Congress to take the official investigation out of the hands of NASA and to name an impartial panel. As the presidential detectives were being assembled, the preliminary review board set up right after the accident was focusing its attention on telltale film, showing a fiery plume traveling up the side of the right solid rocket booster seconds before the explosion. The 6,000-degree blowtorch flame from a rupture in the booster, it is theorized, either burned through the main fuel tank or raised the pressure to intolerable limits. Also, it could have ignited explosives used to blow the rockets away from the shuttle.
Investigators have ruled out nothing. One of the things they're looking at is the possibility that huge chunks of ice may have broken off at liftoff and created a dent or a minute hole in the skin of the solid rocket booster, which expanded under gravitational stress. Also being studied is whether gravitational stress could have loosened one of the struts which hold the external fuel tank to the shuttle, and that piece perhaps could have penetrated and punctured the solid rocket booster.
As the search for clues intensified, the search for more pieces of wreckage encompassed the 20,000 square mile area. Fragments have been found as far away as 220 miles north of the Kennedy Space Center. Additional human remains have been recovered from the Atlantic, but NASA is holding to its policy of not discussing whether they are of any of the crew members. For the Independent News, this is Marvin Scott reporting.
Today, NASA said what it thought might have been the shuttle's crew compartment located at the bottom of the Atlantic is now believed to be a helicopter and a small plane. Sheila?
The family of one of the astronauts killed in the shuttle tragedy arrived in New York tonight. The wife, the brother, and father of Ronald McNair. Tomorrow they'll appear before the City Council and propose that a Harlem street be named after astronaut McNair.
I think it's one of the greatest honors that New York could bestow upon my son. This is what he mostly was concerned about, the poor and the underprivileged. It would mean an awful lot to him. Not considered as one of the richest areas in New York. And this is what he mostly was concerned about the poor and the underprivileged.
Harlem itself is predominantly black, and it will represent or show the people that there are black American heroes, and people who come to this city will know it as well.
If the street renaming is approved, East 122nd Street in Harlem would become McNair Place. For 20 years, McNair's father owned an auto repair shop on the block. The idea is the brainchild of Councilwoman Carolyn Mahoney and the activist group CORE. Mort?
Anatoly Sharansky. He lives in a Soviet prison camp 700 miles east of Moscow. His wife lives without him in Israel, but now freedom could be just 1 week away for human rights activist Anatoly Sharansky. His freedom could result from a major East-West prisoner exchange. The New York Times and a West German newspaper are reporting that a swap is in the works, that Sharansky and up to 12 Western spies will be traded for Eastern Bloc agents jailed in the West. The reports say the exchange will be made next week on a Berlin bridge linking East and West Germany. Washington will not comment on these reports. Sharansky has been jailed since 1978 on charges of spying, charges he and the U.S. deny. His imprisonment brought a storm of protest from the West and a campaign to win his freedom. Sheila?
Still to come tonight on the Independent News, since the death of Paul Castellano, there's a job opening within the mob. Who will be the next Godfather? Mary Murphy has a special report.
And Bob Harris, of course, will have the latest on the weather forecast, and Jerry Gerard will have the night's college basketball action when we return.
Which cereal has more vitamin nutrition than any other? Kellogg's Product 19 cereal. But you'd never guess.
Oh.
Because Product 19 vitamins are flaky, bumpy, crispy, crunchy. And taste so good. Product 19 goodness comes from corn, oats, wheat, and rice.
Delicious.
Kellogg's Product 19.
Flaky.
Bumpy.
Crispy. Crunchy.
Tasty vitamins.
This is a box of Jell-O brand gelatin, and you know what this is, and you certainly know who they are. And this is what Jell-O gelatin looks like when you make it, and here's what this looks like. But when you make them together, they can look like this, or even these, which would make them look like this. So if you look at something like this, you'll find this and those and everything else we've been up to, which could inspire you to make this or even this. Although anything you make with Jell-O gelatin and bananas will make them go, Even something as simple as this. Jell-O gelatin, we're up to something good.
Welcome back, Brad. All those trips you made paid off. The Avcon people just called and gave us the project. Check your top drawer. There's one more trip I want you to take. Aloha, Brad, and thanks.
When there's something special, people know it.
8 long years of development are over. Introducing the new Mercedes-Benz 300E. It moves from 0 to 55 in a stunning 7.5 seconds. It moves performance sedan engineering into a new dimension. And it returns to 0 with computerized ABS anti-lock brakes. The new 300E sedan.
There's something that belongs to you, and another 10 million New Yorkers too. Where even more than meets the eye makes you look and care and laugh and cry. There's a paper that belongs to you, and another 10 million New Yorkers too. We do more than turn a paper out. We're what New York is all about. And New York's the greatest, the most with the latest. You can't live without it, so read all about it in something that belongs to you. New York's hometown paper. We know you've always known our name, but we'll tell it to you just the same. The one to choose is the Daily News. The paper that belongs to you. The Daily News. The paper that belongs to you. New York's hometown paper.
lot of people are saying that there's an opening for a job in the mafia. The opening is for a godfather, and Mary Murphy has the story.
Big Paulie Castellano once lived high on a hill in a mansion so impressive his Staten Island neighbors dubbed it the White House. The FBI called him Don of the #1 crime family in the nation, the Gambinos, a 250-member group said to meet at Little Italy's Ravenite Club, a family that controls the multi-million-dollar trucking industry between our 3 airports and the New York City Garment District. On December 16, 1985, Big Paul and his protege, Tom Bellotti, fell from grace. And so the guessing game began. Who would be the next godfather? In times past, after the famous hits on Al Anastasia and Carmine Galante, it was an easier question to answer. Someone was always waiting in the wings. Now it's not so easy to predict.
There is no position of capo di tutti capi, that is the boss of all bosses.
10 years ago, Carlo Gambino, who led the richest family, owned that title. He died of natural causes. But one FBI expert says that in 1986, as the older Dons die off or face criminal trials, the so-called younger Turks will have a tougher time claiming family dominance. Detectives have already identified one of these Turks as John Gotti, the 45-year-old street enforcer they say has seized control of the Gambino